So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to decide if Dan Pena'S QLA methodology is for you. So if you don't know what Dan Pena'S QLA methodology is, it's a business model of creating generational wealth using other people's money, which is debt, and acquiring profitable companies. And you accumulate several companies together into one common umbrella, like a holding company, and then you create a chain of businesses and then you sell it and make a bunch of money. So it's a model, it's a blueprint to create generational wealth starting with little or no money. So that's just to have, for you to have a little bit background. If you don't know who I am, my name is Prithvi Chauhan and I am an entrepreneur. And I have done 2 of the Dan Pena'S Castle seminar experience. So one of them is the Dan Pena'S QLA Castle seminar, and the other one is QLA Hardcore seminar. And when I did these in 2019 December, they both costed 20,000 pounds. So I invested about 40,000 pounds for 2 weeks of training. And how did I decide that I would do this? And it's very important for you to decide if you're going to execute this or not. Otherwise, it won't make any sense investing the money. But more than the money, it's really about investing your time, because it's not just about attending the Castle seminar or learning about mergers and acquisitions. It's also about taking responsibility and executing the steps, which can take several years. So I not only executed the steps, I not only attended the seminar, I executed the steps, which took me a couple of years to do, and I did them in Dubai. So living in Dubai for a number of years and, spending several $1,000s a month, attending meetings at, lavish hotels, all of that adds up to the cost of the whole process. So how did I decide and how can you decide? So I will share how did I decide, and then maybe in my story, you can see something for yourself. Maybe it strikes a chord with you. So this happened in 2017. I was really depressed. I had just been through a breakup with a girl at the time that I thought was out of my league. Um, and it was a European girl. And at the time, all I wanted to do was date European girls. So I was dating a European girl. I got into a breakup and I was living with my mom, believe it or not. And I was just figuring out what to do. And suddenly a video appeared of Elon Musk on my computer. I was on YouTube trying to make myself feel better. And the video showed Elon Musk launching rockets into space. And he's giving an interview talking about how he saved his 2 companies, Tesla and SpaceX, and he had about $150 million, and he had to divide the funds to save the 2 companies, and he had to borrow money to survive from his friends and family, and he was sleeping on couches. So I saw that video and I was like, I need to get some bigger problems than a stupid breakup. And I need to do something big in life. And this is something that I would like to do. Not building rockets, but something really big, extraordinary, humongous, mega. And that was when the whole quest to find something big started. And eventually I went to many mentors, including Tony Robbins, and I found Dan Pena, who had this step-by-step systematic approach of creating wealth. And for me, creating wealth was not just about creating wealth, because it's not just about collecting the cash. It's about the process of building the wealth. It's the game of building the wealth. The complication of it, the risk of it, the thrill of it, in some cases, the betrayal of it, all of it, the whole thing, I was enamored by, I was inspired by. And I loved the way he spoke. I loved the way he communicated. Very straight, direct, honest, no filter. He spoke what he had on his mind, and he lived in a castle. So that was an addition. But so that was really something that drove me, was that he was teaching how to create generational wealth, and it was big. The ticket size is what attracted me, you know. And he was the only one at the time that was talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. And I didn't know he was legitimate. I had no way to find out other than if I went there myself and find out. So I went there, and after a few weeks of attending the seminar, I had to change my whole getup. I had to get into a three-piece suit. I had to work on my communication skills, and I had to present myself in front of multi-billion-dollar company CEOs. So from living in my mom's house in 2017 to doing presentations with multi-billion-dollar company CEOs and structuring business partnerships with them was quite a big leap for me. And this allowed me to put myself in a position to negotiate with several multi-million-dollar businesses, including a $3.5 million business, $25 million business, even a $100 million business. I met public companies which were worth multiple billions of dollars, and I started to put all the pieces together, and then it started to grow on me. And I remember I was just about to get on a $2 million investor presentation, and I was having food, and my whole stomach was churning, as if, my stomach had become like a washing machine, and I wanted to puke. I was so nervous because I had no idea as to how to do an investor presentation, and it was one of my first few presentations. And my head was spinning. I had a $10 million deal that I was working on. I had already negotiated with banks and secured an offer to finance 70% of the deal. And all I had to come up with was the 30%. So that 2 million was for that. And I was just about to enter into that meeting in 30 minutes. And I was just looking at my time. Oh shit, I have to get on this meeting. And my whole stomach was going like a washing machine. And I looked at my friend who was sitting at the dining table, and I said, I don't know when this thing is going to stop. When is this churning in the stomach going to stop? And he said something that really made me think about my position is, he said, you want this, you chose this, and this is what you want. You love this thrill. You love of the thrill of doing something that you're not ready for, doing something that's big, doing something that's inspiring. If it doesn't churn your stomach, it's not worth doing. And Dan Pena said that if you're executing the step and your stomach doesn't churn, something's wrong, because you're not even remotely ready to do this. And this is, funny enough, what attracted me to it, that I wasn't ready to do it. And that's why anything inspiring, you're not going to be ready to do it. Just like Elon Musk, I don't think he was 100% ready to create a rocket company. He had never done it. He had no idea how he's going to do it. He has no degree in rocket science, but he did it. And that is what was extraordinary about him. And that's what kind of struck a chord with me, is that you're not ready to do this. I wasn't ready to get on the presentation of this kind because I didn't know if I'll be able to pay the money back, to be honest. So I was really scared, and my whole face was flushed. And no entrepreneur knows if they'll be able to give the money back, by the way, when they raise capital. It's a guess, it's estimates, it's projections, it's a lot of things, but nobody has seen the future. But they still do it. So a lot of the uncertainty and the risk and the power and the transaction size is what attracted me. And in the QLA model, the minimum ticket size that you would be dealing with is $1 million. So $1 million is not a lot of money when we talk about buying a business, a small business, a grocery store, of a decent size, or a dental clinic typically is worth $1 million or a couple of $1 million. So um, at the minimum, you're dealing with millionaires on a daily basis. And a lot of the senior executives that you would be partnering up with, they're also, a lot of them are multimillionaires. For example, I structured a business partnership with the CEO of a $3.5 billion company in UAE. It was the second largest telecom company in UAE. So I was not remotely ready to do a presentation in front of him. And then all of a sudden, I assembled a board of 8 of these high profile people. I didn't know how to lead them. Um, I was just following the steps. I negotiated with top law firms, 40 of them, top international law firms. One of the firms actually represented Mark Zuckerberg's opposition in the Facebook case, the lawsuit. I think Eduardo Saverin or one of the Winklevoss brothers. So this firm that I had just talked to had represented one of the Mark Zuckerberg's opposition. So I found out about that after I went and talked to that law firm, and I managed to close them on delayed fee. And don't worry if you don't understand the technicalities of it right now, of the process, but I was doing things I wasn't ready for, and was too big. I wasn't used to those ticket sizes, and I also met a multi-billion-dollar public company. That meeting is also not something I was ready for, and I would a lot of the times lay on the bed with my holding my stomach because it was just getting extremely difficult to function. Emotionally, it was that challenging, but in a kind of sadistic way, I loved every second of it, because I knew that I'm doing things most people aren't capable of doing. I'm exposing myself to kind of transaction sizes and the kind of levels of risk that the big boys, the billionaires, on their way to the top, expose themselves to. So the whole thing started to come real, and I was living my dream. And that's what my friend tried to remind me, is that of that moment in 2017 when I was sitting crying over a breakup, and I said to myself, I need to get bigger problems. I need to have problems like Elon Musk have. If not building rockets, something else. But it has to be something big. It has to be something bold. So that was at the heart of my decision of going to this Dan Pena'S Castle seminar. And the investment was, in that context, nothing. Because this was about my life. And another thing that I thought about is that I don't want to die as an ordinary person. And that was at the heart of everything. That's why I was inspired with Elon Musk, is because he was extraordinary. He was doing things that was extraordinary. So I said this to myself, that I don't want to die as an ordinary person. And I want to do something extraordinary. And that may involve risk, that may involve big tickets. And that's how I got attracted to Dan Pena'S QLA model. And that's my story. Now I'm going to talk about how you can decide. And I'm going to share some elements of the model that may help you decide. So first of all, if you are somebody who's interested in entrepreneurship or creating something big, the pathway very rarely will come to you in the form of an employment. Your work is going to govern what you do in your life. That's the one thing that governs. And you have two options. You can go into employment, or you can get into entrepreneurship. Anybody who has done something really big has done it through entrepreneurship. Most of the people have done it through entrepreneurship. Some people have also done it through innovation, and then selling that innovation to an entrepreneur, the great inventors. But mostly people who have done very big mammoth things, they've done it in the field of entrepreneurship. So if you want to do something big, your options are actually very narrow. So when you want to get into entrepreneurship, you will first have to look at the industry, the business model, the team, the cost of getting involved, competition, and you have to do a lot of evaluation as to whether this is a worth it opportunity or not, because ultimately you're making a decision with your life. Once you start, there is no turning back because you're investing your life on the line. That's how entrepreneurship works. And you may be raising capital, to start something. And you don't know if it'll be successful or not. So you're raising capital, you're putting your time into something. There's nothing there. It's just a couple of sheets of paper, and you're creating something out of nothing. And that's probably one of the reasons why people don't get into business, is because of the uncertainty. And they should be scared because it is scary. So the uncertainty makes it extremely difficult to take a decision. What I like about the QLA model, and it's not just about you and your uncertainty. Your family is going through that uncertainty. The team members that you may bring on are going through that uncertainty. If you have an investor, he is going through an uncertainty, and you have nothing right now. It's just a piece of paper. But what I like about the QLA model is that you don't have as much uncertainty in that model. Why? Because you're buying a company that already exists. You're buying a profitable company. So you can actually look at the financial statements and see exactly how much money they have made in the last 5 years. So you have total visibility on the operations. You can visit the facility. You can touch the clinic or the business that you're going to buy. You can meet the owner, and it's a model that's based on acquiring profitable and older companies that are still doing well, very profitable, and you just buy them. So there is a lot less certainty. A lot of the uncertain variables are out of the window. So it's not like you're creating something that has never existed. It's not something that you're doing something that hasn't been done. So one thing I liked about it is that it's a system. It is a system that has been tested and validated in various parts of the world. It has been done. People have acquired companies who went to the QLS Castle seminar in Australia, South Africa, South America, North America, Canada, Europe. Within Europe, Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, um, Hungary, Poland, all of these places, this model has been executed. And people have done it. People have acquired multi-million-dollar companies, and they've made it happen. So that's another thing that I liked about it, is that it's a step-by-step system, and it has been validated. It's not innovation-based. Although I'm inspired by Elon Musk, uh, I still wanted to factor in the risk. I didn't want to go that crazy, but I just wanted to do something big that's not as risky as innovation-based businesses. So it's a business that already exists, it's profitable, and you just acquire it. So from day one, you're making money because the goods and services are already in place, the employees are in place, the facility is in place, it's paying its rent, it's already done. Last 5 years, it has been making money, it's profiting, and now you have a change of ownership. That's it. So that's another thing that I liked about it, is that I haven't found so much certainty in a business model as much as I've found in the Dan Pena'S QLA model, which is based on buying companies. So that was another thing that I really liked. The third thing I liked is, and I mentioned this before, is the big ticket. The minimum ticket that you would be focused on would be $1 million. And it can go all the way up to 10, 20, 30, $40 million or more, because there is no upper limit in mergers and acquisitions, because companies are the biggest commodities on the planet. There is nothing that's bigger in tickets, in terms of ticket size, bigger than a company. There's no private jet, no corporate jet, no Boeing jet or a yacht that amounts to the largest company in the world, or many companies in the world. So companies are the biggest items, biggest ticket size items that are there on this planet. So the upper ceiling is not there. So that's something I liked. I didn't want that there are limits to this. BlackRock, who also does mergers and acquisitions, Blackstone, their assets are worth in trillions of dollars. So they control trillions of dollars of wealth, and there's more to accumulate. So the ticket size really attracted me because I wanted to do something big and also create wealth. And another thing that I liked was that I don't have to have my own money other than my personal expenses and the tuition for the seminar or any mentorship program. Um, I could raise money from the banks to buy a company. Why would they loan me money? Is because I'm buying a profitable company. I'm not starting a company from scratch. This is not like a typical startup where you have nothing. You have identified something that's making money and then you're raising capital. It's very similar to real estate. So that's another aspect that I liked, is that you can raise money to buy a profitable company, and you can raise the money far easily because your talking points are all based on facts, grounded in reality. So you can tell the banks that the company that you want to buy has a revenue of $1 million, and you have a profit margin of 20 to 30%, and you have a strong case already. Versus you go to a bank or an investor and you say, oh, we have nothing and we're trying to create something from nothing. But or you could say that I found a business. It has got 15 employees. It's making $1 million. These are the services. This is the location. It has been in existence for the last 15 years. It has been profitable since last 10 years. And this is a legitimate business. I can even get you to visit the facility if you want. That's a far stronger pitch than going with some sheets of paper of imaginary idea. So you have something tangible that you can leverage to raise capital. So that's another thing that I liked. So this is something that's important to understand, is that certainty doesn't just exist, or certainty or uncertainty doesn't just exist for you. It exists for everybody involved, meaning your team, your financiers, and yourself and your family. So when you start something from scratch, everybody will feel this sense of uncertainty. And they're not going to align themselves with you easily if there is a lot of uncertainty and if you cannot provide certainty. Because people want to be associated with things that are sure shot, that are certain. But when you're building your team and you're getting money and doing all of these things, you can say, we are not creating anything from scratch. We are buying something that exists. It's there in the market. It's profiting. It has been profiting for the last 5 years. It has a track record. We're not inventing anything. It exists. It's there. So it's something tangible. And that kind of settles people down. And that's the only reason why I was able to bring high-powered people together at a very young age to be my business partners, including the CEO of a $3.5 billion company, a top lawyer who advised on a $13 billion bank merger, former partner of PwC, former partner of KPMG. These are some of the biggest accounting firms in the world, and 2 healthcare CEOs with 30 plus years of experience. The reason these people said yes, because I could provide them with certainty, some indication of certainty. Not everything is guaranteed, but you have a solid ground to build a project. And it's far easier to build a team. It's far easier to raise capital. And more importantly, it's far easier for you to pay back the money that you borrow or raise because you have cash flows. So there is a lot of elements here that are not there in any other business model. It's big. You can create generational wealth. The risk is relatively low compared to innovation-based business because something already exists. It's already producing money. You can raise capital. You can build a team when you have a solid foundation of a project idea. Then it's far easier to build a team because high-profile guys, they will align themselves with you if you can provide them with this kind of certainty and a solid ground. So that's the reasons why this makes a very attractive business model, is because of all of these elements. And I tried, believe it or not, I tried to quit many times because it was so uncomfortable and it was so outside my comfort zone. But there is nothing that deals with this kind of ticket sizes, anything else that I have seen that deals with this kind of ticket sizes and a business model where almost every day you're meeting multimillionaires. So a lot of the people ask me, how do you network? If you have a project and your project is taking you into networking with multi-million dollar multimillionaires, then you're in the right project. You don't have to put separate time aside of your work to network with successful people. It should be part of your role. It should be part of your role in your company. So that's another thing that attracted me, was the aspect of people. You know, the quality of your life is going to be defined by who you're surrounded yourself with. And if you're surrounded by multimillionaires, high profile executives who were, in multi-billion dollar companies, naturally you have a lift of self-esteem, you have a lift of morale, and you see yourself as somebody important, somebody who matters. And you're in a position that is a high impact leadership position. So another aspect of the QLA model that I liked was that you have control, that you're going to be the major shareholder of your company. I owned 83.5% of my company, and it was supposed to be dropped down to about 64%. So anything above 51 is a majority controlling stake. So I was in a controlling position. One of my clients, Braulio, he owned about 64% or 65% of his company. And the current clients that have recently joined with me in my mentorship program also control their companies. This is an important aspect. One of the reasons why people hate their jobs is because they're not in control. They have to report to somebody. Somebody is above them. Somebody has a higher authority within that organization than them. They're under somebody's thumb. This is what most people don't like. And this is something that I didn't like. I personally cannot work in an environment where somebody's controlling me. I just don't feel productive. I don't want to work, to please them. I just cannot work under anybody. So for me, even if I'm a shareholder, I cannot be a minor shareholder. I have to be a majority shareholder, and I have to have control over the project. So you have control over your decisions and control over your project. You are the final authority. And you have advisors that can advise you. They're senior people, but they don't have controlling stake in the company. You are the controlling guy. You're the main guy. So you get to play the main guy who controls all the decisions and who has the final authority, who has the final word. So there is an aspect of power and control that comes with it that gives you a uh, sense of control and power. So that's another aspect of the QLA model, is you get to be in control. How many projects have you worked in where you didn't have the control? Even if you were a business partner with somebody, maybe they had the control. I've been in a business partnership with my brother where he had 80-90% of the company. I only had 10%. And the project could not move forward without his consent or without his approval or without some approval from him. So I always found myself in a position to pitch him some idea that I have to execute. You don't have that problem here. You have majority stake in your own company. It's your company. You're the founder. You're the main guy, and you get to lead this project. So that's a lot of, and you can dictate and govern who you surround yourself with. Every single team member that you bring was chosen by you. And you have the ability to terminate their directorship also. Hopefully not, but if somebody's acting nasty, you can do it. I've done it. So that's another aspect of the model, is that you get to be a major shareholder. So you're a major shareholder, you're doing something big, it's big ticket. Nothing is bigger ticket than a business. It's profitable. It's a lot of certainty. You can make a lot of money. You get to be around multi-millionaires, and you get to be the major shareholder and a controlling shareholder. So that's quite a lot of elements that make this model extremely attractive. So I hope that I could give you some clarity, and I hope I could empower you to make an informed decision. And if you like the video, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you soon.